There's a particular type of man that women simply cannot forget. This man is incredibly rare, not because he's hard to find, but because most men fall into two common traps. They crumble under the pressure to please or overcompensate to impress. But what stands out is something no one talks about. It's not kindness that makes women wary. It's control that they cannot grasp. And the men they fear the most? The ones they struggle to manipulate are the ones who are emotionally intelligent. These men are not only smart or sensitive, they are sharp, composed, and calm under pressure. It's not that a woman is afraid of a man who shows emotion. She's afraid of a man who knows exactly how he feels, why he feels it, and doesn't let anyone use it against him. That's where the power lies. This kind of man doesn't overreact. He doesn't chase, doesn't try to appease others just for the sake of peace. Instead, he watches, assesses the situation, and moves with precision. Emotional intelligence combined with masculine composure, that's when things get dangerous. In this video, you're going to learn how to become that man. The man who doesn't get manipulated, doesn't fall apart emotionally, and doesn't fade into the background. We'll break down the traits that make emotionally intelligent men so rare, so powerful, and so unforgettable to women. You'll discover exactly what you need to do, how to think, how to act, how to respond, to become the man she can't control and the one she never sees coming. But be warned, don't skip ahead. Every trait builds on the last, and missing even one means you'll stay stuck in old patterns. Master them all, and you'll change the entire way women perceive you. Let's dive right in. Let's start with a situation many couples face. You're in a relationship, and suddenly she starts acting cold. She pulls back affection, maybe as a test. What do most men do? They panic. They beg, over-explain, try to fix everything right away, or worse, shut down completely, becoming cold themselves. But the emotionally intelligent man? He doesn't fall for it. Instead, he pauses. He feels the shift. He observes the change without reacting emotionally. Then, he acts with clarity, not fear. Women fear this because it's powerful, not because it's toxic. The emotionally intelligent man can't be baited. He doesn't respond to emotional strings being pulled. He sees the game for what it is. And guess what? This doesn't make him cold. It makes him centered. As Machiavelli said, "He who controls himself is harder to conquer than a city." In a world full of men who react too quickly, who get defensive, angry, or emotional at the slightest provocation, the man who stays calm becomes rare. While others try to explain themselves, raise their voices, or prove their point, he remains quiet, steady, and controlled. Not because he doesn't care, but because he refuses to be pulled into chaos that he didn't create. And when a woman sees this in him, she doesn't see weakness. She sees power, a power she can't bend. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't seek love like it's a lifeline. He values it, yes, but he doesn't need it to feel complete. He's not starving for love because he already knows his worth. Imagine this. You're on a first date, and she makes a slightly critical comment. Maybe she takes a dig at your ambition, your appearance, or your past. Most men would nervously laugh it off, hoping to stay in her good graces. But not the emotionally intelligent man. He pauses, smiles, and simply says, "Interesting comment," before moving on. He doesn't defend himself, doesn't explain, doesn't crumble under the pressure. His calm and restraint are magnetic because they signal one thing. He doesn't need to be liked to feel valid. He's already chosen himself. This is where Machiavelli's wisdom comes into play. He says, "He who seeks to please will always serve." The moment you make her opinion your anchor, you've given away control. But the man who knows who he is doesn't feel the need to explain himself or prove anything. If she tests him, he doesn't react. He lets it slide, like the wind passing by. Why? Because he doesn't need her approval. He already approves of himself. And is this calm confidence? Women feel it instantly. While most men are busy trying to impress, he just is. He's grounded, clear, and solid. He doesn't try to charm. He doesn't perform to be liked. He shows up as himself and lets her decide what to do with that. That's not arrogance. That's inner power. And that's what makes him unforgettable. One of the most terrifying things for a woman who is used to controlling emotions is meeting a man who sees through her, not to judge or manipulate, but simply to understand. Let's imagine this scenario. You've been in a relationship for a while, and suddenly she gets moody. She pulls back, becomes distant, or replies with short responses. The average man either gets defensive or withdraws, giving her the space to control the emotional tone. But the emotionally intelligent man? He asks calmly, "Is something on your mind?" When she says no, he simply nods and leaves it at that. There's no pressure, no interrogation. He gives her space, knowing that when the emotion passes, they can talk again. There are no accusations, just presence. That patience disarms her because, in that moment, she realizes she can't use her emotions to dominate the conversation. She can't bait him into a fight. Why? Because he's not playing defense. He's playing chess. This kind of calm awareness is rare and unsettling, not because it's cruel, but because it removes her favorite weapon, emotional confusion. The emotionally intelligent man replaces tension with transparency. And for most people, that level of clarity is simply too much. Most people are used to the drama and chaos. But the man who stays grounded and doesn't react to the emotional upheavals becomes an enigma. And that, in turn, becomes his power. Conflict. It's an inevitable part of relationships, but here's where the emotionally intelligent man stands out. Picture this. You and your partner are arguing, emotions are running high, and voices start to rise. But not from you. Instead of getting caught up in the chaos, you speak slowly. You pause before responding. You ask questions instead of throwing blame. You set the tone, leading with calm and clarity. This ability to remain steady during a conflict is incredibly powerful. Machiavelli would say, "A ruler must be prepared to act immorally or not be good when the situation demands it for the sake of maintaining power and the stability of the state." In emotional terms, this translates to knowing when to be soft, when to be firm, and when to walk away without a word. You don't need chaos to feel alive. You bring peace into the situation. And anyone who thrives on dysfunction, someone who is addicted to drama and conflict, will either evolve to meet your level of emotional maturity, or they'll disappear. Either way, you don't lose. You win by staying in control of yourself. That's the secret. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't need to overpower anyone. He wins by maintaining self-control. True emotional intelligence becomes undeniable when you understand not only how to handle your feelings, but also how to guide the feelings of others. Let's say you're dating someone new. She has a strong personality, maybe even a volatile one. She tests, she pushes, and most men either avoid confrontation or try to match her energy. But you regulate, you hold steady. You make eye contact, validate her feelings, but without submitting to them. You stay grounded while she starts to shift. The more you remain calm, the more she begins to relax. Your emotional leadership becomes her safe space. Most women are used to leading the emotional tempo, but when they meet a man who can stand firm in the fire of her emotions and still lead with warmth and clarity, they feel something different. It's not dominance, it's not submission, it's strength. And that strength is what makes her feel safe, even though she can't control it. This is what scares her, but it's also what she craves. She can't control you, and that creates a certain allure. But instead of pulling away or acting cold, you guide her through it, and in doing so, you create a space of emotional stability that she won't find anywhere else. Finally, we come to the ultimate sign of emotional intelligence, the ability to walk away without chaos. Whether it's in a marriage, a long-term relationship, or even casual dating, there comes a moment when things no longer align. And while most people explode, assign blame, and break down, the emotionally intelligent man accepts the truth. He grieves privately and moves with clarity. He doesn't slam doors. He doesn't try to win the breakup. He leaves with his dignity intact. And here's the kicker. Nothing terrifies a woman more than a man who can walk away and never look back. Why? Because it means she never owned him emotionally. He chose to be there, and once the energy shifted, he chose to step away. That level of power is unforgettable. It redefines what a dangerous man is. A man who can walk away without regret shows that he's not afraid of change, and he certainly doesn't fear losing someone. His peace is more important than any relationship. He values himself enough to let go when the time comes, without emotional chaos. That is a power that commands respect and leaves a lasting impression. In many relationships, there's an unspoken assumption that you need to shout, argue, or raise your voice to get your point across. But for the emotionally intelligent man, respect doesn't come from volume or aggression. It comes from clarity and presence. You don't need to scream to make your voice heard. Your calm demeanor and self-assuredness are all that's required. When everyone else is escalating a situation, the man who stays quiet and controlled commands attention. This isn't about being passive or avoiding conflict. It's about understanding the power of stillness. It's about choosing when to speak and when to remain silent. When you stay composed, you send a message that you don't need to dominate the conversation to be seen. You don't need to be loud to be heard. Your presence alone is enough to demand respect. In a world where everyone seems to be trying to outshout the next person, the man who can remain composed becomes a rare and powerful force. This calmness doesn't come from avoiding conflict. It comes from the confidence that no matter what happens, you can handle it without losing your composure. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't need to play games to keep someone's attention. He doesn't need to create drama or stir up uncertainty to see if someone will chase him. He knows that true connection is built on authenticity, not manipulation. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't run after someone's approval because he knows that when you're emotionally grounded, the right people will be drawn to you naturally. This is one of the hardest things to grasp, especially in a world where dating often feels like a competition. But the emotionally intelligent man is comfortable with himself. He knows that he doesn't need to perform for others. He doesn't need to beg for attention or affection. He simply shows up as himself, without pretense. And that's what makes him magnetic. He's not trying to win anyone over by playing mind games. He's not trying to keep anyone interested by creating drama. He understands that true connection is not about tricking someone into liking you. It's about allowing them to see you for who you truly are, and letting them decide what to do with that. It's easy to mistake emotional intelligence for emotional detachment. The emotionally intelligent man isn't indifferent. He's emotionally disciplined. He doesn't suppress his feelings, nor does he let them control him. He feels deeply, but he chooses how to respond. He's not reactive. He doesn't let emotions dictate his decisions. Instead, he healthily processes his feelings, making sure that his emotions don't control his actions. This kind of emotional discipline is incredibly rare and even more powerful. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't avoid his emotions. He feels them fully and then moves forward with purpose. He knows that his feelings don't define him. He is defined by how he chooses to act, despite how he feels. This doesn't make him cold or unfeeling. It makes him reliable. It makes him someone you can trust because you know he won't make rash decisions based on temporary emotions. His actions are always measured, calculated, and deliberate. The emotionally intelligent man's consistency is one of his most powerful traits. He doesn't flip-flop between intentions and actions, nor does he leave people wondering where they stand with him. His behavior is grounded in reliability. What he says he will do, he does. This steadiness creates an environment of trust, and trust is a cornerstone in any relationship. Women fear unpredictability because it creates emotional turbulence. It makes them feel unanchored and insecure. An emotionally intelligent man, however, offers the opposite. He is reliable, and his consistency in both actions and words provides the reassurance that others, especially women, crave. When a man's behavior doesn't waver under pressure, when he doesn't make false promises or shy away from challenges, he cultivates respect. He faces difficulties head-on without retreating or abandoning his commitments. He doesn't shy away from taking responsibility when things go wrong. This ability to stay true to his word, even when circumstances change, makes him a safe, dependable presence in her life. His consistency means she doesn't have to constantly question his motives or feel the anxiety of uncertainty. Instead, she knows that no matter what, he will be there, showing up for her time and time again with integrity and steadfastness. So, what's the takeaway from all this? The emotionally intelligent man doesn't need to chase, impress, or beg for attention. He doesn't play games, and he doesn't thrive on creating unnecessary drama or emotional tension. Instead, he is grounded in who he is. He carries himself with a calm, composed demeanor that is often seen as a beacon of stability. His emotional discipline allows him to lead not just in his actions but in his mindset as well. He doesn't let external circumstances, other people's opinions, or fleeting emotions disrupt his sense of self or his clarity of thought. This rare quality of emotional mastery is what makes such a man unforgettable to women. It's not about manipulation or control. It's the ability to maintain his integrity, authenticity, and self-assurance in any situation. It's the unwavering sense of calm in the face of emotional storms, whether it's a small misunderstanding or a major life challenge. His ability to weather these storms without losing himself makes him a rare gem in a world full of reactive and unstable individuals. When a woman encounters a man like this, she doesn't fear him because he's cold or unfeeling. She fears him because he represents something she can't control, something she's rarely encountered, a man who cannot be moved by her emotions, games, or tests. He holds the type of presence that can't be easily shaken, and for many, that's both intriguing and intimidating. This is the essence of true emotional intelligence. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't need to put on a facade or prove his worth to anyone. He simply is. He stands firm in his truth and makes decisions based on a deep understanding of himself and the world around him. This unwavering strength, combined with his emotional clarity, is what makes him magnetic, an energy that draws people in without effort. That truly is unforgettable.